Not many Americans know that there are 7,000 Iranian students, Iranian citizens that is, are studying in America. They're studying different topics. We have one of them to discuss with us Iran-America relations and Iran relations with Israel and other places. Yousof Azizi is an Iranian citizen and a graduate student, PhD student at the public administration in Virginia Tech, which is in Virginia, of course. Welcome to Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. So, how is the relationship of America with Iran nowadays? If there are 7,000 students, I would say there are 7,000 Iranian ambassadors to the United States, but do you have an embassy in America?
As you know, since 1979, unfortunately, there is no official diplomatic relation between Iran and the United States. So there is no embassy in Iran or embassy of United States in Iran or embassy of Iran in Washington, D.C. There are embassies who help those countries have some minimal relationship. For example, in Iran, Switzerland have the right to, do something on behalf of United States. And in Washington, D.C., United States, the Pakistani embassy do some of the very, very short and minimal issues for Iranian government here in Washington, D.C.
So does it also, if students are coming and going, are there some business and trade which is taking place between the two countries?
No, there is no trade because of some sanction that United States put on Iran. It's not secondary sanction on other countries. It is the sanctions on U.S. citizens who cannot have any kind of business and trade with Iranians. If they want, they have to go to one department in the Department of Treasury and named OFAC, and get the license to do business with Iran, even the humanitarian issues, even for going and pay something for poor people or needy people in Iran. So the Iranian American citizens here, the American citizens, the international organization who wanted to help even in humanitarian and health issue and food issue, they have to get the license from OFAC from Washington, D.C.
So our Iranian students, which you mentioned about 7,000 of them, do they face any difficulties in America? People say, hey, what are you doing here? I mean, I have been asked to go back also, but I'm an American citizen. So tell us about what is their experience in America.
Yeah, before the revolution, the Iranian students here is actually the ranking one, the most number of international students in the United States from Iran. It is over 50,000 students at that time in 1970s. That's a huge number. But during the time after the revolution, especially, this number is decreasing. And during the Obama time, it is again in one of the best time after the revolution. It is about 12 to 15,000 students in the United States studying mostly engineering and mostly working through the medical issues, engineering issues, and after graduation going to the Silicon Valley and something like that. But during the Trump administration, with his rhetoric and with the Muslim ban, especially affecting the Iranians and Iranian families. So the number of students again decreasing. And, for example, when we wanted to apply for visa for United States to come to the United States for education, we have to go to the third country, even either Turkey or UAE or Armenia, to get visa. And, there are many difficulties. The families cannot come here. It's very hard that family can come and visit. Or when we go out, most of Iranian receive a single type of visa, a student visa, which means that if you go out for any kind of emergency, again, you have to proceed all of these long processes to get visa and come back. And most of the time face to, for example, the classes miss, the dissertation time miss, everything miss. So there are many examples that talk during these past years that, the people cannot complete their education here and they have to go to somewhere like Scotland, Canada, or something like that. But answering to your specific question, I didn't see such a things in Michigan, University of Michigan, when I got my master's, and in Virginia Tech when I got I'm studying my PhD. I'm also working in Harvard, so I didn't see this kind of discrimination in university spaces, because most of the time in university era and the cities that university happen, most of the time it's this liberal kind of thinking, and the people are very nice to international students. But many students and many families in rural area, or when they go to the trip or something like that, they face such arguments. But yeah, it's happening. So
tell us, most of these conflicts which is out there between Iran and America has to do with the nuclear deal which Obama signed, and President Trump move away from it. What is the status of those negotiations? Are you hopeful those negotiations will be successful?
As you said, President Obama think that the first move and the most important part of the problem and conflict that Iran has with the West or the United States, that he can resolve it in a way that it would be a first step to normalize the issue, to go through another talk about the regional security or other matter of issues. So it would be a nuclear issue, because nuclear program of Iran was a concern of not only United States, France, England, European Union, even Russia and China, which is the 5 permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. So the art of sanction that we talk about Obama, there's a book named on Art of Sanction that his advisor wrote about the sanctioning Iran and how it was successful to bring Iran to the table, as they thought. It is about that, how they could manage all of the countries around the world, especially the world powers, minimize their differences in other issues and focus on Iran. So during the 2009, 2010, 2011, Russia and China joined United States in United Nations Security Council to pass a resolution against Iran and put the hard sanction against Iran. So there are other issues that brought us to the JCPOA. And, after 12 years, but 2 years of intense negotiation, all parties agreed on the JCPOA, so the Iran nuclear deal in 2015, which is really restricted Iran's nuclear program in turn that Iran can, do its businesses. It can sell its oil and bring back the money, the dollars and currencies to the country. And also the central bank of Iran can do its businesses easily and freely with other banks. So it is not going completely as Iranian thought after 2015, but at least it helps Iranian to revive their economy. So President Trump has different idea, and perhaps, as all of us know, he didn't read that agreement. He just wanted to do something that said, okay, the Obama did something wrong. I wanted to do it and get a better deal. He always said about the better deal. And by better deal, he meant that, okay, I will put all of the problems we have with Iran on this table at the same time, and wanted to discuss and negotiate with Iranian to receive a comprehensive agreement with Iran. That's not going to happen. The Iranian never go to talk about everything at the same time, because during these past 40 years, Iranians several times Iranian trusted United States. When the United States wanted to attack Afghanistan, Iranian helped them. When they wanted to attack Saddam Hussein, so I'm not saying that helped them. They not coming to put some barriers in front of the United States. But at the end, George W. Bush said that, okay, Iran is in the axle of evil. Okay, so there are many problems that Iranian cannot trust the United States. Maybe the same from the United States. So Obama think that okay, the nuclear program could be the first step, and then we can go through the talk about the other issues. But Trump didn't think that, and he withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, put all of the sanctions back on Iranians. Iranian resisted, and this time China and Russia, and even most of the European countries, they didn't accept the U.S. logic here. The European didn't help Iranian on overcoming the sanction, but at least politically in United Nations Security Council, they didn't vote on behalf in favor of United States. Last year when Bush bring the Iran file to the United Nations Security Council. So when Biden came to the power, many people hoped that he tried to revive the 2015 agreement, and he wanted to do what President Obama did about Iran. But unfortunately, it seems that he thought maybe that he can use those leverage that President Trump did against Iran as a sanction, as economic issues, to get a better deal. I don't know what kind of better deal, but he mentioned, he and his Secretary of State and Wendy Sherman, the second ranking officials in the State Department, that we wanted the longer and better deal from Iran. So again, I'm not sure. We all hope that during the next week and the next round of the negotiation, they can reach to a deal that secure the international and regional security for all of the players in the region.
There are regional countries who are concerned about Iran. Iran's presence in the region, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and different areas. Now, some of those countries are signing up deal with Israel, and Israel also is willing to bomb and stop Iran from acquiring nuclear bomb. So why Iran is pursuing a policy which is creating so many regional enemies?
This is a good question. Particularly, I believe that during the negotiation, at the last months of the negotiation, even during the Obama administration, the negotiating team from the United States asked for Iran to, after we ended the nuclear talk and resolved this issue, let's go to talk about the other issues, regional issues, with the Saudi Arabia, with Israel, with Turkey, maybe Qatar, Emiratis, and other players there. And the supreme leader of Iran has a very bold and rare position at that time. It is about March 2015, I guess. Okay, if we see that the United States comply with its promises and its obligation under the deal, we don't have any hesitation to go and talk about other issues with the United States. On the regional issues, Iranians believe that, okay, we have to solve the regional issues with our neighbors, with our brothers and sisters, and without the intervention of, the great powers, whether it is Russia or United States or other countries. And they offered many times that, okay, let's see and talk about the regional securities, about the issues. But okay, that's not going to happen, and maybe because the United States presence there is not very productive. It's maybe destructive, because some of the countries are relying their security on United States and United States presence there. So they didn't see any advantages to go to talk with Iranian directly. This has happened, especially when you talk about the current relation or accord between Israel and some Arab nations and Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, because they saw that, okay, United States are moving, maybe gradually, but at least they are shifting from Middle East to East Asia. It is not about Republican or Democrat. It's not about Trump or Biden or Obama. All of them, they know that the great power politics and international politics force United States to bring all sources and the human power and everything to East Asia because of China growth. So this is another matter. And but this flash the Arab countries that, okay, if United States is not going to put an umbrella, security umbrella on us, we have to find another players in the region. And this is a bad move, to go and have some security ties with Israel. Everyone knows, every Muslim's hurt. But, this is a hope that the countries in the region, the Muslim countries, the Arab countries, all the countries in the region, Pakistanis, Turkeys, all of them, reach to understanding that, okay, without the intervention of world powers, we have to come to the table to talk to each other. All of them have concern about each other. We know that Arab Saudis and Qataris have problems. Turkish with Arabs has problems. Iran with Turkey has problems. There are many problems there. So they have to solve it all by themselves, not by the interferences of the world powers.
How Iranians discuss these regional issues among them? One image is that it is Iran supporting Shias to rebel against people and oppress Sunnis. Now, Iran has been a superpower. It is mentioned even in the Quran. So historically, it has been a great power. So Iranians see it as aspiring to national emergence into a bigger than a country, or is it the faith Shiaism which is inspiring them to have these type of hegemonic relationship, which these neighbors describe as hegemonic relationship and want to provide a counterbalance to it?
As you said, there are many talk about this, but even before the revolution, even during the Shah, during the Pahlavi regime. But actually, that Iranians also support groups like Hamas or Islamic Jihad or some groups in Afghanistan during the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. So for Iranians, as I understand, the most important issues is Israel's occupation of Palestinian land and Islamic land. And when something happened in Syria, when something happened in Saudi Arabia, there are many social activities in Iran. We have to do something. But all the time, the leaders of Iran, the supreme leaders and other leaders come and said, okay, the first priority is Israel. And all of these happening around us is because Israel wants to divert our attention to the Palestinian issues. So my understanding is that the Palestine issues and the occupation of the Holy Land could be the most important things that bring all of the Islamic countries together to talk about that and resolve that issue first, and then go through the other issues. But as you said, the Iranian, through the history, the geopolitics of Iran, the way that Iran located in that region, and the Persian-speaking countries, the culture that they received from 2,000, 3,000 years ago, the Shia group, as you said, that most of the time are the minorities during the histories in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq, in Iran, in Azerbaijani Republic, even in Afghanistan or sometimes in Pakistan. They are most of the time, as a minority group who are, didn't receive the same kind of behavior that all of the people in this region received in the past years, I mean. So, yeah, there is challenging issues, but I mean that my understanding is that if all of these countries focus first of all on Israeli issues and what's happening as a human rights and as a Muslims to Palestinians issues, so they can come up to the understanding that these sectarian issues just is a conflict that put all of these countries on a business not related to Israelis and Palestinian focus on. So we hope that all of these countries back to the original rail.
Well, thank you so much, Yousof Azizi. Yousof Azizi is a graduate student, a citizen of Iran who is studying in Virginia Tech, Virginia. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.